Today I'm going to talk to you about stress and more importantly, how not to stress and have a happier life. It is possible to not stress too much and enjoy your day-to-day life. It really is. Let me start by telling you the three common causes of stress and anxiety in all of us. A major cause of anxiety is because we feel frustrated when we cannot control the world around us. We would like our kids, our spouses, our co-workers to do certain things, and they just don't do the obvious thing they need to do. And that's so frustrating for many of us. Another common cause of stress and anxiety is because we feel other people are responsible for the things that go wrong in our lives. For example, if only our spouse would treat our children differently, our children would behave better and we would have a happier life. If only our co-workers behaved the way they're supposed to, we would have a better work experience ourselves. Another common cause of stress and anxiety is our habitual response. For example, some people feel stressed when they talk to their parents, and even before they call their mother, they get anxious, even though they haven't started a conversation yet. And they have this sense of habitual response that every time this happens, they react in a certain way. Now, these are all solvable, fixable problems. The important thing to consider is that these can be solved and they can be fixed, even though they've been going on for decades. The first thing to do is to realize that we can only control our own thoughts and emotions. We have our brain that dictates what we do and helps us perceive the world the way we do. So the things that we consider right or wrong are the products of our brain's functioning. So if you think your spouse is doing this and that, well, you may be right, you may be wrong. And it's humbling to know that the things that you hold to be truth, they may not be absolute truth. The second thing is to take responsibility for what happens to you. You have control in your thoughts and emotions and what happens to you. There's no point of blaming what your mother did to you 20 years ago or whatever happened to your family members that made you lose or gain a job. You are responsible for what happens to you, and you need to take responsibility, and you can take responsibility of how you lead your day-to-day life. The most important part, perhaps, is that you need to move your train of life with excitement, not fear. We all feel like we're going somewhere, we're doing something. Many of us do that because we fear of the worst case scenario. But there are also people who think at the positive side. They consider the best outcome possible and they're excited about it. We don't know what will happen tomorrow anyway, but why not think the positive? The positive may or may not happen, but the negative may or may not happen either. But when you think positive, when you have a sense of optimism, joy, and faith that drives your train of life, you experience today before tomorrow even begins. So in closing, I think that the stressful things around you have to do with the way you perceive them to be stressful. If you change the way you think about them, all the stress will melt away. You can indeed have control over positive or negative thoughts in your head. Why not focus on the positive?